2020 Leadership. Episode 1. Leadership is going to require more than clear vision. Throughout my career in eye care, I've had the opportunity to work with incredible teams, strong leaders, and also teams that were struggling. Not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked support, mentorship, and leadership development. And that's when I realized something important. Leadership is the difference. Yet in our industry, we spend years developing clinical skills, learning diagnosis, treatment plans, patient care standards, and technical expertise. But we spend very little time intentionally developing leaders. And that's exactly why I created Beyond 2020 Leadership. Because leadership requires more than clear vision. It requires courage. It requires emotional intelligence. It requires accountability, and it requires influence. And most importantly, it requires a commitment to helping others grow. Welcome to Beyond 2020 Leadership. I am your host, Tamara Nord, and this podcast is where leadership, eye care, personal growth, and professional development come together. Whether you're a doctor, technician, optician, manager, student, or simply someone interested in becoming a better leader, you're in the right place. Let's get started. The purpose of this podcast is simple. I want to create a place where leaders in eye care can learn, grow, challenge themselves, and connect with others who are passionate about making a difference. I also want to create access. One of the biggest lessons I have learned throughout my career is that leadership development shouldn't be reserved for a select few. Everyone deserves access to mentorship. Everyone deserves opportunities to learn leadership skills. Everyone deserves the chance to discover their potential. The eye care industry is filled with incredible people doing meaningful work every single day. We help people see, we detect disease, we improve quality of life, and we preserve independence. But if we want to continue making that impact for future generations, we must invest in the people who will lead the industry forward. And that's what this podcast is all about. What's interesting about my journey is that I'm still relatively young in the eye care industry. My career began in eye care in 2017 when I joined EssilorLuxottica through the Target Optical brand. And like many people, I didn't necessarily know exactly where this industry would take me. What I did know was that I loved people. I loved helping others succeed. And I was fascinated by leadership in the industry. Over the years, I've had opportunities to grow in different roles and continue developing my skills. And today I serve as a district manager and operations leader for AEG Vision. But my leadership journey started long before eye care. In fact, every job I've held since I was 16 years old involved leadership in some capacity. And looking back, I know exactly where that influence came from. My father. My dad was an entrepreneur. I spent countless hours watching him run his businesses, solve problems, lead people, and navigate challenges. He taught me that hard work matters. He taught me that character matters. And he taught me that if you are willing to learn, grow, and put in the effort, almost anything is possible. Some of my earliest leadership lessons weren't learned in a classroom. They were learned by watching him. And today, I still carry those lessons with me. Over the years, people have asked me, what kind of leader do I strive to be? That answer has become very clear. I believe leadership is a balance between accountability and grace. Too much accountability without grace creates fear, and too much grace without accountability creates complacency. Great leaders learn how to balance both. My leadership philosophy is centered around emotional intelligence. People don't perform at their highest level because they're managed. They perform at their highest level because they're understood, supported, challenged, and developed. I want people to feel seen. I want people to feel valued. I want people to believe that they're capable of more than they currently see in themselves. Because some of the most rewarding moments in my career haven't been my own achievements. They've been watching someone else realize what they're capable of, watching a leader gain confidence, watching a team member earn a promotion, watching someone step into a role they once thought was impossible. That's leadership. Leadership isn't creating followers, it's creating more leaders. And I believe that we are at a pivotal moment in eye care. The demand for eye care services continues to grow. Patients are spending more time on digital devices than ever before. Chronic diseases continue to increase. Our aging population is creating greater demand for vision care. And at the same time, many patients still don't fully understand the importance of a routine eye examination. According to the CDC, approximately 40% of adults at high risk for vision loss did not receive an eye exam in the previous year. And healthy people, it reports that only about half of adults receive comprehensive dilated eye examinations within a 2-year period. That tells me we have work to do, not just clinically, but educationally. We need leaders who can inspire communities. We need leaders who can develop teams, and we need leaders who can communicate the importance of preventative eye health. And we need leaders who understand that the future of our industry depends on how well we invest in people. One of the greatest opportunities in eye care isn't technology, it's talent. How do we identify future leaders? How do we mentor them? How do we retain them? And how do we help them discover what's possible? Those are leadership questions. And they're questions we'll explore together in this podcast. Here's what you can expect from Beyond 2020 Leadership. We'll discuss topics like leadership development, emotional intelligence, coaching and mentorship, building high-performing teams, navigating change, operational excellence, patient experience, personal growth, career development. We'll also bring in doctors, leaders, and industry experts, and individuals who are helping shape the future of eye care. Most importantly, I want every episode to leave you with something practical. One insight, one strategy, one perspective, one action. Something you can immediately apply in your life, career, or your leadership journey. In future episodes, we'll dive deeper into topics like why leadership titles don't create leaders, how emotional intelligence changes team performance, the biggest mistake new leaders make, creating cultures people actually want to be a part of, developing future leaders within your organization, the relationship between patient outcomes and leadership effectiveness. And we'll hear stories from leaders across the eye care industry who are making a meaningful impact. Because leadership isn't a theory, it's practice. its people, and its impact. I want to leave you with this thought. When most people hear the phrase 2020 vision, they think about seeing clearly. But leadership isn't about seeing clearly for yourself. It's about helping others see what's possible for themselves. The greatest leaders don't just create results. They create belief, they create opportunity, they create growth, and they create a legacy that continues long after they're gone. If that's the kind of leader you want to become, then you're in the right place. Thank you for joining me for the very first episode of Beyond 2020 Leadership. Until next time, continue learning, continue growing, continue leading with purpose, and remember, leadership requires more than clear vision. It requires helping others discover theirs.